Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Legend of Zelda Aqueduct Princess. In this part, we move water around for a living. Yay. We also get the Clawshot, which is like the best item ever. Oh my god. Like, this is one of my favorite additions to the game because they took the hookshot, which was already good, and they made it better. Yeah, because it's now like a grappling hook, so it can grab stuff to you instead of taking you to other places, which is really
You
cool.
essentially become Spider-Man, except metal.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd still say the most broken version of this kind of item is still linked to the pass hookshot because it gives you completely invincibility frames.
Well, I mean,
and it just replaces most of your long range weaponry.
It's also, given the nature of the game and its 2D nature, it's just much faster to use.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing is that I used the long shot in Ocarina of Time instead of arrows whenever I could because I'm a stingy bitch.
Yeah, but now
I feel like
imagine
that's
that,
dangerous
but even
though, because like half the time it drags you to.
Oh,
wherever
yeah,
it is
no,
than
no, like-
actually damaging them.
That's hilarious though to do on Dark Nuts and Iron Knuckles.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, you like go to football.
Have at chi.
You go to
Every
football
once in a
tackle.
while, I'll forget that happens, and then I scare the crap out of myself, and I'm like, okay, never again.
Yeah. Yeah.
This 3-heart run was a mistake.
Yeah, no, for real though.
So, Masay, when are we getting to your Twilight Princess 3-heart Master Quest Ganondorf amiibo run?
I am considering it. I am legitimately actually considering it.
She actually answered it.
Not even sarcastically.
Is there a Master Quest mode for Majora's Mask?
For Majora's Mask,
No,
no.
unfortunately.
Because that's like the only 3D Zelda without one in some form, right? Because
Yep.
like I know that Wind Waker has a hero mode, and
Nope, it has no hero mode at all.
that's weird, but okay.
The problem is you can't really remix the dungeons too much to
Well,
do
no,
anything
it's not even
with
that.
it.
I wish they put like a double damage mode in the 3DS version.
I think the issue is that because there's only 4 dungeons, you could potentially just have normal players not have a lot of health naturally.
I guess, but
I also feel like Majora's Mask is not a game Zelda players play for the dungeons. Is also the thing.
Yeah.
Like, whenever anybody is ever talking about Majora's Mask ever, they're not talking about the dungeons. Like, I mean, maybe they'll talk about Great Bay being annoying, but it's all about the side quests in that game. And, you know,
Yeah, I have
that's
to
why
agree there.
people love it or hate it, you know.
I think it's only because just the small amount, though. I wouldn't say the actual quality of the dungeon, just because it's just the small amount of
But it's also
Yeah.
not the main focus of the game, you know. Like, a lot of the times they're just kind of there, but whenever I see people playing the game or whatever, or talking about it, they're just talking about how, you know, how cool all of the side quests and stuff are and whatnot.
I think it's more because not a whole lot of Zelda games have in-depth side quests like Majora's Mask does.
Yeah.
It's not so much that the dungeons themselves are like just there, because I still love Stone Tower. It's like my favorite dungeon in anything. Great Bay sucks, but Snowhead's pretty well put together if you look at it and actually like pick it apart. And
Woodfall is, I think, is a generally good temple.
yeah, Woodfall's good if not basic, but I mean it's the first temple in the game, so it has to be. But like, I just think that people talk more about the side quests because that's not a very common thing to go in
Okay,
depth
Ted,
with.
I take back everything I said about your crossbow training exercise.
That's good. This is a regular bow, John. All right, it's different. I'm just really, really determined to get these bats because I know that they're going to be a pain in the ass later on. Come on. Come on.
Just go.
Just like how you zoomed in. It's like, did we just get a glare?
What am I doing? Right.
You're switching items.
You're trying to use the Hawkeye.
Yeah, I don't know how to there we go, because there we go. Now I can aim and shoot at the same time. Yeah. Here we
Training.
go.
No, if anything, this is
wheels.
worse.
Yeah,
'Cause now
I
your
actually
aim is-
dislike the Hawkeye in this game.
Link's
Your aiming
sniper.
is more erratic because your window is so small.
This is why we play unscoped, everybody.
360 no scope.
No, this game is on the Wii U.
360, no arrows. Because you're out.
Yeah, the scope is tiny in this.
Like, what the hell can you do with that? You can't do anything.
You
with
know,
that.
it's probably something that they originally designed for the SD screens, like the 4x3 screens. So
Or at least the Wii version of the game.
yeah, so they didn't make it bigger for this version. So
You really hate these bats.
yeah, screw that. But they're so annoying in this because you're trying to, I think they can't hit you while you're hanging from the.
They can, but you can just. Every target right now is above something, so you just drop
Go
down.
see, go away, go away. I hate you.
I mean, you hit him. You actually hit him with your sword.
The goddamn bats.
Oh God, I'm standing
I
on.
thought you were about to walk off the edge.
I wouldn't be surprised if I did. So, going back to this part of the game is hard for me. Not because it's difficult, but because I keep on expecting me to be able to Clawshot from one thing straight to another thing.
Yeah.
Because the later part of the game spoils me. So yeah,
It is very fulfilling, even for something as simple as just giving you a second claw shot.
Yeah, so he can become Tula, man.
Yeah, it is just very fulfilling and satisfying to do.
I mean, why don't they do that for the other items though? Like instead of having, one bow and arrow, you have two bows and arrows.
Yeah, you use
Oh,
your teeth
Twilight
to
Princess,
pull
like,
back
I'll come out
the
and we'll let you
string.
have 2 claw shots.
He has to have the same smug face though.
We go to Zelda by Platinum Games and you'll dual wield Master Swords.
Probably, yeah. Oh, see, like, that's what I'm talking about on the vines. Like, I was pressing left, but I go down, and if I had pressed it for even just a second more, I would have fallen off and had to do that all over again. You know what, I'm imagining what a Platinum game Zelda would even be like, though.
Intense, and Link would probably
Rules of Hyrule. Link just starts, instead of like doing the ways to get into the beast from Breath of the Wild, he just starts running up them.
Yeah, so he suplexes a guardian, like throws it up in the air, and like it's a QTE to cut all the limbs off like one by one.
With the
layers in the back.
with the laser beams that come from the sword.
Yeah, and you got like deflect it all. That sounds amazing, actually. Like I would not mind that at all.
But I'm also terrible at Platinum type games. Like, I
Did you play Bayonetta 2?
I did not play Bayonetta 2, but
I would think you should, because I know you played Bayonetta 1. You remember you didn't like it much,
not
right?
not really. I felt like I wasn't good at the combat, and I felt like the game was making fun of me for being bad at it.
I think you'll like Bayonetta 2. I think Bayonetta 2 is just a much better designed game.
Is there more stuff to do in between fights? Because that was
It's just it has less. Well, there's that, and I think it just has less bullshit. Because Bayonetta 1, I revisited that game last year, and I still love it, but it has a lot of like stupid shit, namely the QTEs and just how obtuse some secrets are in that game.
Is the story less awful? That silence is not reassuring, John.
I'm actually really thinking about it. I was like, no, okay, it's not good. If that's like the shorthand answer you want, no, it's not. But
I take it
I can't
Bayonetta is a game you don't really play for the story.
yeah, it's something you don't play for story. But I don't like to use that as an excuse.
Well, I don't either because the cutscenes are like 20 minutes long, too. Like
I don't think they get as bad as Bayonetta 1, but I don't think the story is any better.
Like, because honestly, like, it wasn't just that the cutscenes, like, the story was... Like, it's not that the voice acting was bad or anything. Like, the characters are fine. It's more just, like, the plot, I felt, was just... It's hard for me to explain because
it's a lot of... Well, it's junk food.
Well, no, because there's good junk food. It's bad junk food. It's like...
What do you constitute as good or bad junk food?
Well... Okay, hold on. Let me think.
That,
In,
like,
real
figuratively and
life or,
literally.
like, in video games?
Yeah, it's like, what do you look for? Hershey bars or Reese's Cups?
Yeah, it's like, because again, like, Reese's Cups are good junk food. Reese's Pieces, bad junk food.
Whoa! I like Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
All right, Ted, you've gone too far this time.
I define good junk food as something with its own unique flavor, even though it's bad for you.
I define good junk food as like things that's technically kind of good for you, but still really bad. Like globbing a pile of honey in your mouth.
I think it's not good for you on virtue of it being labeled as junk food.
Well,
Yeah, fair
if
enough.
we're talking about video game junk food, or like TV junk food or something, it's something that's satisfying to watch, even if there's no substance to it, you know? Because, like, that's
which is why John and I call Dragon Ball Z
junk food.
Yeah.
Because, because there wasn't really any emotional depth or anything interesting that came out of the story in Bayonetta. It was just a lot of really long cutscenes that have Bayonetta be sexy and cool, and then nothing interesting happens.
Whereas, let's say, again, going back to Metal Gear Rising, you have Raiden in a sombrero.
Yeah, well, like...
Yes.
It's absurd. I mean, they're both absurd, but it's more... Like, I have never seen Metal Gear Rising, but, like, it's...
It's briefer, it's to the point, and it's a little cheeky about its own absurdity.
Well, I don't think that something needs to be... Like, because a lot of... There's the phrase doesn't
I'm giving it as an example as to why it's more tolerable there than it would, say, Bayonetta.
Yeah, because, you see... The phrase doesn't take itself too seriously is one that I've kind of had thought a lot about these past couple of months, and I haven't come to a conclusion yet, so I'm not going to say anything like revelatory here or whatever, but like there are things that don't take themselves too seriously, and I find that to be good in some instances and not good in others, because, you know, sometimes if you have a game that's like, lol, 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 aren't we funny? Lol, 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 it's not supposed to be serious. And then I find that just obnoxious. Whereas, you know, there's sometimes when, you know, something knows that it's not supposed to be taken seriously and thus allows itself to have fun, as opposed... I think, actually, that's a good way to put it. There's games that don't take themselves too seriously and use that as an excuse to do something silly and to have fun, versus games that don't take themselves seriously and use that as an excuse to not do something, like make characters interesting.
It's used to make it like, yeah, just jank all around.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of an example right now because I didn't do my homework, basically. But like there are games where, you know, where the writing's like, oh, aren't we funny? We're gonna make fun of how this is a character trope, but they still do the trope completely straight. Other than that, you know, it's just like, oh, we're gonna point out that this is a dumb trope, but that you're still doing it, you know, like that always annoys me. What am I doing right now?
You need to open the door.
Oh, right, yeah.
What did you cling with?
I was just wondering that.
You just shot something and it looked like you hit something midair and that retracted.
It was probably the hitbox of one of the
God, this
walls.
air is so thick.
I mean, it is it's underneath a lake, so there's probably not that much oxygen in here, you know. I also like how the water doesn't flow through, but it just appears as soon as the door opens. I love video games. All right. So yeah. So this is okay. So actually, I was. You see, I have the benefit of of being the one who has to edit the parts, so I remember conversations that happened, you know, like 4 weeks ago. So good for me. When I was talking about why I liked the dungeons in this game, I mentioned that you're doing more things that make the dungeon feel more interconnected, and the water in this temple is one of the things that I enjoy, because you're not just changing the water level arbitrarily, you're trying to move the water from one place to another. And so you have to think about the dungeon in a different way than you would normally do, and you have to think about it as one cohesive piece, as opposed to, okay, there's a room, I have to get through this room, okay, now I have a key, there was a locked door 3 rooms back, I gotta go open that door now.
If I can interject, I know we've been talking about Majora's Mask a lot, but if you feel that way, I'm going to call it right now and say that you're actually going to like the Great Bay Temple.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
that
is
entire
literally the entire
temple,
point of the dungeon.
Yeah, that is the entire temple, is essentially that concept.
Okay.
And pretty much all of the temples in Majora's Mask have that sort of feel in them.
Snowhead definitely does that.
Yeah, Snowhead also definitely does that, and that's why I think it's such a well-designed dungeon, as much of a pain as it can be to play if you fall, but it has that sort of theming in that you're doing something to change the dungeon, but it's not arbitrary, and you're like manipulating the flow of the water. You're manipulating this pillar.
By tinkering and manipulating with this piece of the dungeon, you are activating another part of the dungeon which has its own set of obstacles to deal with.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's also definitely present in Stone Tower as well.
Yeah. Well, I think all of them, honestly. Maybe
Oh,
Uh,
not so
Woodfall.
much Woodfall.
not Woodfall, but
A little bit, but it's more
Snowfall,
like
Great Bay,
one
and Stone
switch.
Tower. Yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
It's from what I hear, it's just a lot of people don't like that there's backtracking. Is one thing that I hear, but like,
It's also a very tedious dungeon your first time.
yeah, like I mean, we were talking. The water clips through the chest. I just noticed that these bombs should be useless.
No, they're water bombs.
Oh, okay. So sorry, I lost my train of thought.
The Royal Water Bombs.
The royal water bombs will be
One
complete.
of our patented water bombs.
But yeah, my only thing I'm gonna say is that play Majora's Mask 3D. Just try it.
I will once I'm in the mood for it. It's
Fair
I
enough.
know that's a. It's one of those things where
Oh, no,
if
I know. I have to be in the mood for certain games all the time.
yeah, it's and that's actually I'm in the mood right now where I don't know what I'm in the mood to play. So like I've been starting a couple of games and half finishing
that's
them.
annoying because I felt that a couple months ago. I felt that way about just playing through Fire Emblem Awakening again. I got like 3 missions and I'm like, I'm bored. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, and it's not that the game's boring. It's just like you're not in the mood to play it, And it's
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah.